Hello, and welcome to the ChristiTutionalist Politics show. Over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a listener that I can barely begin to express how much I appreciate from the bottom of my heart you being here, as I know you have a lot of options. As Listen Notes, the podcast platform says, there are about 168.9 million plus podcasts you could choose from. And I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me, as indeed it is just me on the podcast outside, at least for the initial episodes. All substance, no muss, no fuss, no fluff, no fancy or flashy high production inserts or intro, just straight to the key discussion points. A show that will look at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian United States constitutionalist lens. Hence, obviously, the ChristiTutionalist Politics title. I am your host, Joseph M. Lenard, and last name is spelled Lenard, like most pronounce Leonard, but without the O, an author of a very non-traditional but Christian, nonetheless Christian book, co-host of Savaged Unfiltered podcast, and for purposes of this show, most notably a blogger for thelibertybeacon.com, from which most of the content for the show will be derived. These are not going to be long, drawn-out episodes. I just want something short for you to be able to tune into, get the highlights, food for thought. You can then delve deeper into via my online articles and reach your own conclusion. And as Graham Norton would say on his late-night talk show, let's get on with the show! Greetings, everybody. I know I've said this before. This won't be the last time I say it, but this is going to be a bit of an odd episode. I actually put it in my articles at thelibertybeacon.com on occasion. This is going to be one of those kind of odd and different articles, different kind of delivery than people are used to, different topic than what people are used to from me. Well, this midweek December special of ChristiTutionalist Politics is indeed kind of now one of them really odd. I think you could tell by the background if you're watching at JLenardDetroit, Rumble, and YouTube, behind the scenes sneak peek video version of the episode. I'm not going to give the background away yet as to those listening on audio only. If you're a regular listener or a regular reader of my pieces on thelibertybeacon.com that drop every Saturday, just like this show drops every Saturday morning. Normally there's corresponding between the show and an article. This is a midweek drop special, December special. So there won't be a corresponding thelibertybeacon.com piece on it. I may throw something up at beforeitsnews.com, the other place I still write. Many of you may know I used to write for Red State. I used to write for Grassfire. I used to write for Freedom Works when they had blog area. I had my own website in the 80s. I'm a former IT guy, so I've been writing online articles before the internet was even born. Those things called dial-up bulletin boards that you had to know the phone number and dial from computer to computer. But that's off the beaten path and a bit off topic. But I've been writing these pieces and doing these things. But this one I want to talk to you about dating in the woke age. Why? Because those of you that are regulars also know I'm co-host of the Savaged family of shows. Like today that I'm recording is actually Saturday, December the 2nd. I'm recording this for Wednesday midweek drop. I will be recording when I'm done with this recording, going to a live stream, live stream of Savaged Underground that we do on Saturdays, 11 o'clock. Sometime it's an hour earlier, sometime it's an hour later, but Saturday is 11 o'clock, Savaged Underground. Mondays and Wednesdays, Savaged Unfiltered normally drops the normal parent show. I'm a co-host. Also, of late, we've been doing Savage Radio on theblock105.com. If you've heard those shows, you often hear us joking with Cousin Sauce, who is a personality on that show. He's from Wisconsin. He's younger. He's dating. We tease him all the time about his dating woes. Why that and a ChristiTutionalist Politics podcast? Dating in this woke age. It's a thing. It's a concern. It's an issue. I just saw on Newsmax about dating change research polling, right? A survey rather, not it'd be considered rather than polling, even though it's polling, right? A change research survey saying that, and this shows clear liberal bias out there, how liberals think. They claim to be tolerant, but they are not. And this survey, this study shows it, and how we have to be careful in those we're looking to date. I'm divorced. I'm single now, but I'm not seriously looking for a relationship. I'm divorced. I'm 61 now. I'm older. I'm slower, as I like to say. I'm too broke, as I say, to be anyone's sugar daddy for sure. And I'm not looking for a sugar mama. But I did, if you see the background on YouTube or Rumble, RepublicanSingles.com. Yes, I joined so I can connect with some conservative women. And we tease Cousin Sauce about his dating exploits. Bob on the show said, you need to get off those sites you're on and somewhere like a RepublicanSingles.com, where they're not all Christian there, but at least they're mostly conservative. They're a lot more in line with our beliefs than if you're going to go on dataliberal.com, if such a thing exists. But the Change Research study showed 58% of those in the study of females won't date a guy who claims there are only two genders. Yeah, you heard me right. 58% of women, which really shows you if that number is at all actually accurate and representative of femality, no such word, but I'm going to use it, femality, here in the United States in this day and age. And on December 30th, I'm going to have a TLB, thelibertybeacon.com, and CTP show on can one generalize about women voters? So this will be kind of a sneak at that, or although this content won't be in there. 58% of women are so ultra left-wing ideologues and so propagandized, so indoctrinated in there are a million genders. A gender can be whatever you want it to be, as opposed to...
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Ed Bondarenka, and I host Your American Heritage on Saturdays at 2 in the afternoon on this station. Your American Heritage is a show about the struggle we find ourselves in and how to react to it in the light of our biblical and American heritage. Listen to it while you're working around the house, the garage, cleaning the guns, walking the dog, driving, or just lazing around. Join me at 2 o'clock Saturdays here on Wham Radio, 1600 AM, 92.7 FM.
God bless America.
Science and biology, and there are XX and XY chromosomes, and all else are genetic mutations. But this notion of genderism as a delusion that you can be whatever you want. I'm TV sexual because I love watching TV. What? Oh, unbelievable. That's why I wanted to talk to you today, and why I cite like a republicansingles.com for anyone who's Christian or conservative or at all on the right side of the aisle, even center right. I don't want to date a liberal these days. And again, as discussed in my book, ChristiTutionalist Politics, the book, as Dennis Prager says, there's a difference between a classical liberal. You can look like a Brandon Strzok. His last name looks like Straka, but it's pronounced Strzok. Brandon Strzok of the Walk Away from Democrats movement, or a Candace Owens, who is still, I consider, a black moderate, is now a Republican. She's still, in my opinion, a classical liberal, but she's now moved center right. She's still left on some issues, so I wouldn't call her conservative, or especially not ultra conservative. But examples of classical liberals who are open to seeing reality, someone who can red pill, who will awaken from their woke stupor, who get away from empty rhetoric. Look at results. ChristiTutionalist Politics. You shall be known by your fruits, what you do, your results, not your supposed good intentions, even though the left feigns good intentions. Their results of policy always hurt the people they pretend to care about, like Bidenomics. Oh, it's all about the middle class, but yet Bidenflation caused by Bidenomics hurt the poor and the middle class the most. Back to the study. 60% of the women in this survey say a man that says all lives matter. Oh my God. Are you serious? Again, leftist ideologues, propaganda brainwashed into this. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. White lives matter. Pink polka dotted people, if there were such a thing, lives would matter. All lives matter is inclusion. You know that thing the left always pretends they're about? Diversity, equity, inclusion, though we call it DIE, D-I-E here in Michigan. My friend Ed Bondarenka over at Wham Radio coined that. Diversity, inclusion, and equity, because DIE, it's really cultural Marxism and all about killing the American culture and our great melting pot. We are the most diverse nation on the planet. We have a melting pot. We don't deal in cultural appropriation. The different cultures come here together and blend to form our own unique American culture, a blend of all cultures. That is diversity. That is inclusion. But the left doesn't really care about that. That isn't what they mean. That is all bull to get to the equity part, which means special rights. Like on my TerrorStrikes.info/quotes page, you will see I mentioned Animal Farm in my Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You book. If Orwell were alive today, I say he'd write a sequel to Animal Farm, and the line would be, some animals get more equity, i.e. special rights, special privileges, than other animals, rather than the equal opportunity that this nation promises and affords. It's up to you to do things for yourself, not leave it to the government to steal for some, to give to you, so that everybody has equity. And in communism, historically it's shown, and we've talked in this show about the Bradford Colony and the Mayflower Commie Compact failure and Bradford's pivot to free markets and personal rights, individual freedoms, personal responsibility, and the rest, they say, is history. Communism was tried here on U.S. soil and failed like everywhere else. Communism, fascism, socialism, all is equitable poor. You are all poor unless if you're part of the ruling elite. So to tie all this dating together with the ChristiTutionalist politics aspect, you're equal in poorness unless you're a member of the ruling elite. And a lot of these morons on the left don't understand, as George Carlin says, it's a big club, but you're not in it. You're going to be one of the poor. You're not going to be part of the ruling elite crowd that's in charge, whether it be communist, fascist, or socialist. Again, this isn't the 1930s. Germany, the Nazi Socies, that later known as fascists, Nazi socialists, were fighting the Marxist Moscow-based communists for power in Germany and control. The Nazis won that battle, and of course, we have all that history to show for it. It would have been not as bad, but pretty darn bad had the Moscow communists won that battle too. It would have been an expansion to what became the Soviet Empire without the Holocaust, because Germany communists and Moscow communists would have then pincered a blitzkrieg into Poland, the Baltics, and all those Eastern European states, whether the US and England and France then would have joined the war at that point over that. This is a bit conjecture now, is a whole other thing, but I'm kind of getting off topic, but this all relates. Today, communism, fascism, socialism, there's no real difference. It's all the same thing. It's just which banner, the one with pink polka dots, the one with purple polka dots, or the one with red and green polka dots on the flag, get to be the ruling elite in charge. They're all the same, just slight various minor differences in how they accomplish keeping their boot on your throat. Third step, back to the dating in these woke times, and why I joined RepublicanSingles.com to check it out. And I'm meeting some great people there. Again, I'm not looking for serious to marriage dating. I do want to meet some wonderful conservative women to have an occasional outing with and to be able to discuss these things with, because the world is going insane. Hobbies. 66% of the women studied say they have an issue. It's a red flag if men have no hobbies. The good, the bad, the ugly, right? I always tell you, I discuss the pros and the cons. I just don't think some thought this through. I kind of get that. Anyone who has no hobbies, at least doesn't have at least one hobby of some sort, as I wrote at thelibertybeacon.com, occasional distractions, not only good, but healthy. We did that as part of God and Guns plus Sports episode a few weeks back. You need some distraction. So I get someone who says they have absolutely no hobbies can be an issue. But at the same time, and I'm kind of jumping ahead to, can we generalize about all women voters? Pardon me here. I'm not trying to paint with a broad brush, but from my own personal experience, a woman will say, yeah, it's great. Have your poker night out with the guys, right? That's the hobby. But how many times do we, of course, see in the comedy shows over and over, the guys get together for the poker night and the women complain, you're spending too much time with the guys playing poker. Pardon the bad imitation of a generalized screeching woman. My apologies. Again, I don't mean to paint with a broad brush. We all know some who are like that. So, right, fantasy football. The guys are getting together every week at the bar to go over their fantasy football picks. You're spending too much time with the guys. We don't go out enough. That is my point with that last part about the no hobbies thing. Women want a man, again, sorry, a generalization, but in general, a conservative or a ChristiTutionalist want a traditional man who indeed I would think would have some hobbies, but is indeed focusing on being a good provider, which is not to say women shouldn't be in the workplace. In this day and age, households need both income unless it's one or the other, whether it be the male or the female. I know someone, I was going to mention his name, I won't mention his name, but a good friend, his wife has a six-figure salary. He's a stay-at-home dad. No problem with that. If one person of a couple of in a marriage can stay home to help raise the child rather than both parents having to work, that's a good thing. Traditionally, yes, the matriarchy, the patriarchy that the left rails about. Traditionally, right, it's the man who has the higher provider salary. Please don't get mad at me. Don't send me nasty grams. I'm indeed talking in broad generalities here that I really don't like doing, but society is still kind of sort of that way. But both parents often do need to work. It's great if one or the other parent can stay home to help raise the kids if you have kids, or both working great jobs so that you can put away money so that when you have children, someone can stay home with the child. But no hobbies, I think, is a problem. But at the same time, a lot of times conservative women do say they want a man who's focused on the important things, being the breadwinner, bringing home the bacon, focusing if you own a business or potentially at some point in the future, starting your own business, which then takes a whole lot of time. You don't have time for hobbies potentially when you're running and operating your own business. The no hobbies thing, I can see an issue with it, and I don't see an issue with it. I hope I've made clear my point here that it depends, but a balance in life is necessary or we'll go out of our minds. Men need time out with the guys. Women need time out with the ladies. To maintain our own sanity, we need our own alone time, even sometimes, for our own mental health and sanity, and for us to maybe just stupidly watch the boob tube, right? While she's out with the ladies, I sit home and watch the boob tube, distractions to get out of my head and away from all these serious topics that we're always talking about here. If my friend Cousin Sauce is watching, I highly recommend he join RepublicanSingles.com, start dating women more compatible to him for his own well-being, and vice versa. Ladies, again, it says RepublicanSingles.com. It's really more a conservative thing, Republicans in general. So yes, there are some more centrist Republicans there. But again, the site, like all dating sites, aggregates what you are based on your definitions versus what they are, their given definitions, what you and they say they are, you are both looking for, to give you percentages of compatibility, and then you go from there. At any rate, I can see this was supposed to be just a very brief midweek drop, a very kind of weird and off-the-wall topic, but as you see or hear, I hope you understand why I felt the need to try and tie all this together. We had Thanksgiving. Hopefully you didn't have any loons at your table. You're all colonizers, as I discuss in another episode, completely devoid of historical context. Humankind has been warring against each other since biblical times. The Native Americans colonized each other's land before the Europeans came and colonized this land. Saturday, that dropped just before this, about Ukraine elections. Zelensky, damned if he holds them, damned if he doesn't. He's got an open war zone going on right now. How does one conduct an election in an open war zone? But colonization is an issue there. 100 years of historical context of Russians/Soviets colonizing and trying to put their boot on and control over Ukrainian space. It's still happening today, you leftist loons, and yet the left, a lot of them recognize, as do I don't support Zelensky. He's corrupt as Biden, as is Putin. I support the Ukrainian people who have been oppressed by Russians for 100 years. This is not a first time. This is a 19th millionth time of a Russian invasion and attempted oppression of Ukrainian people. So I support bread and bullets to support the Ukrainian people, not Zelensky, who is corrupt himself, although I deal with damned if he does, damned if he doesn't hold elections in an open war zone. If he holds them, he's disenfranchising those in occupied territory. If he doesn't hold them in the free parts, then they're going to claim, oh, he's a wannabe dictator. He wants to cancel the elections like Hamas did in Gaza more than a decade and a half ago after getting elected. But you don't hear the left complaining about Hamas canceling elections for a decade and a half, but they'll complain Zelensky may suspend elections for a while in Ukraine. As always, the good, the bad, the ugly, the pros and cons from me. Both sides of the issue. Gray areas, another episode, part 1 and part 2. It isn't always all black and white. So that's how all these things tie together. Thanksgiving, thankfully, it was me, my sister, over at a friend of my sister's house, all pretty much like-minded people, so we didn't have that craziness. But in this woke day and age, oh my God, I cannot imagine putting up with, tolerating, dating someone from the ultra-left side of the aisle, because they're always preaching tolerance when they are the most intolerant people on the planet. With that, I'm going to stop rambling. I'm kind of rambling on. I just had the few notes about the 3 points from the Change Research survey that I wanted to touch on, and those opened up other rabbit holes, so we went a lot longer. Thank you all. Take care. God bless. We are in December. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah to my Jewish friends. So yes, if they say happy holidays at wherever, the local restaurant, the local store, I don't get bent out of shape. I agree with including Hanukkah and Christmas. It's gift giving, buying season time again for both those holidays. So let's not get upset about the happy holiday things, but the phrase, as opposed to them saying Merry Christmas to you, because they don't get to and shouldn't really presume whether you are a Christian or you're Jewish or you're atheist or you're Muslim. Happy holidays encompasses it all. Let's focus on the far more important issues. Take care. God bless. So I will close with happy holidays. Hey, gang, a brief interruption in the show about Christmas giving, kind of, sort of, or to ask, are you a coffee drinker? What about other coffee drinkers you know? It's indeed Christmas giving time, Hanukkah giving time. Again, this being December now, I want to ask you, those coffee drinkers on your gift giving list, if I can get the words out correctly. What do you socks that'll get put in a drawer they forgot you gave them, a tie or a shirt that'll end up buried in the back of the closet they forgot you gave them? How about something useful like Blackout Coffee? Yes, I am partnering with Blackout Coffee. You can use promo code JOSEL20, Joseph for Joseph, L20 for 20% off, JOSEL20 promo code. Or better yet, I've created a shortcut, tinyurl.com/blackoutcoffees. And of course, Blackout Coffees all run together as one word, not three separate words. So again, tinyurl.com. I love using their shortcut services /Blackout Coffees. Should take you right in and automatically apply your 20% discount. So for yourself or for others, this Christmas, give Blackout Coffee something you know they're going to use, something they're going to enjoy, something that they then fondly remember you and your gift every time they sip from the Blackout Coffee cup of coffee. Thank you all. Take care. God bless. Merry Christmas. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics podcast and Savage Unfiltered. Maybe even go back a few years and dig up some old The Patriot angles. Share episodes. We need your help to grow the show. Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via TerrorStrikes.info/shop. And please tune in to Savage Unfiltered podcast, of which I am a co-host. And be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. Indeed, just me on the podcast side end of things. All substance, no fluff, no fancy high production intro or inserts, at least yet. Just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart, as I know you have over 168.9 million plus podcasts out there you could choose from. Thank you again so much for tuning into mine. Take care. God bless.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M Lenard. Order today.